Did a 2-year-old illustration just spark a brand new series from Foresight Studio / Foresight Media? Well, yes. Yes, it did. And here's the backstory behind it. What's up, y'all? My name's DKG72. I am a artist from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm also a writer, content creator, guy that does multiple things. Teacher sometimes, uh, um, sometimes supervisor when I'm on the job, when I'm on a job. So I wear multiple hats. So let's get right into it. This is the story of how the new series Zero G, a space opera, or the Zero G, a space opera, came to be. And it really started back in September of 2022 when I was doing a series of illustrations. I was At that time I was testing the NFT market, just seeing if that was something that was viable. And my first attempt was series of illustrations called the Sci-Fi Sisters, and that was spelled Sci-Fi Sisters, Sista. Yes, sir. Sistas. Yeah, there you go. Sci-Fi Sisters. Um, and what it was going to be was a series of original illustrations that I was going to put up and then see, how they would do in those particular markets. One of the things I found frustrating about the idea was that I could, when I did the illustrations, a number of the illustrations, I saw so many other uses for them, and I didn't want them to. I basically got to a point where I didn't want them to just be these NFT works of art that could only exist in this digital format, so to speak. Um, so I just took them down. I took them down, and I started trying to figure out ways to really approach this project a little bit with a bigger mindset in mind. And that's kind of how that was the overview, right? That's the overview. Um, the particular illustration that I was gravitating to the most was this one called self maintenance, and basically it was a pretty nice young lady that I had drawn. She was a lot thicker than you would normally see. Normally the women are a little bit on the thin side. Obviously, if you're doing a series called Sci-Fi Sisters, they're going to be a little bit thicker because we're focusing on beautiful black women. But I wanted to make this woman a little bit, I guess what you would call a BBW, but she kept tight, kept it right. She was looking good. And what I did was I did this drawing of this mechanic who had a cybernetic arm, and the arm was being worked on by her little robot helper, and she was in her garage, and it was a really fun. I remember it was a really fun illustration to make. The thing I find frustrating sometimes, and this is a tangent right here. One of the things that you're going to find frustrating sometimes, especially when you look back on certain things that you did, is how you approach things outside of the creation process. That particular illustration, the creation process was I was so into it. I remember that part. I had so much fun drawing it, and so many different challenges that came with it and everything like that. But it seems one of the things that I didn't do was I didn't document the creation of that illustration. I'm not sure. I'm still going to have to look around. Maybe there is some documentation somewhere, but the documentation is not where it normally would be in my files and folders. So that's kind of frustrating. So and again, in this age where you want to document what you create and how you created it, because you never know when you're going to use it. It just would have been nice to have that making of video. I have some other videos from that series that I did document, so might put those up. But that particular one, I'm having a hard time finding the video, and that's a little frustrating. And it was 2 years ago. I didn't have the process as refined as I do now, and I'm a little upset about that part. But nevertheless, what I remember about that drawing or making that illustration was how much fun it was and how fun it turned out. It's hands down one of my favorite pieces from that series, and I did some really epic pieces. I got one where I had a drawing of a girl with her pet dragon hound dog. She's like by a bounty hunter character, and that was really, really cool. It was actually originally it was a drawing that I had done 4 years prior in the traditional art style, and then I was redoing it as digital artwork, and then I actually made some modifications to her dragon hound dog monster thingy, and just some of the things I did from a technical standpoint, as far as just the digital inking of that drawing, and then the layering and how I handled layers, was just really, really just a blast, man. Just had a blast. Actually had a blast with that whole series. It was really cool. And back to self-maintenance. Self-maintenance was one of those too. Just a lot of different layering things, and I know I documented that somewhere. I just got to find it. I just got to find it. So if I can find it, it'll be the B-roll, and you'll see it. You'll definitely see it. But it was just fun, really working on that project, and just some of the things that I was able to do with that project, and those illustrations, some of the challenges that I took on and really handled. I was really proud of, and that was one of my proudest illustrations from that was self-maintenance. I featured it a few times. I submitted it to a few art shows, and one of the cool things was I think I submitted it last year to an art show in New York, and people got to see it there. So just all around one of the illustrations, I'm really, really just happy how that came out. So fast forward again, that's one of my trophy illustrations. The one, like when people say, "Hey, what's one that you put in your portfolio?" That's a portfolio illustration, right? That particular project is a portfolio project. It's portfolio illustration, and it was really important to me because, again, I didn't expect it to come out as good as it did, but it did, and I'm really happy it did, because I've been able to show that off, and I think that really showcases a lot of the work. In fact, if you look right behind me, right here, see finger, yeah, you see it in the background. That's how much I really like that particular illustration. So fast forward to 2024, and I'm looking at creating more short form stories for the Foresight Media channel, and I'm gearing up for this new challenge, which is to create these weekly episodes of whether it's of short form science fiction stories. Come on, focus. There we go. I don't know what's up with my camera, y'all. Sometimes it just wants to wander off. I have to keep my eye on it. So, if you see me looking over this way, it's just because I'm keep my eye on and have to tap that thing, make sure it's zeroing in on my eye. See, it's traveling for some reason. Weird. Uh, Back to the story. Fast forward 2024, and I'm gearing up for 2025, and some of the things that I really want to focus on, and I want to focus on short form story creation for 2025. Um, and what I find, stop searching. What I'm finding is that what I found was that I had a lot of content I wanted to create, and then sometimes you just look at something and an idea will pop into your head. Um, and during the brainstorming process, I pulled up the illustration, self maintenance, and was working with DJ Hijack. I agreed, and we were just kind of talking and going back and forth about, hey, what about this? What about this? Let's create some stories around this. Let's create some stories around that. Stop that, focus. Let's create this. Let's create, we were going back and forth, and the cool thing that happened, boy, this camera is getting on my nerves today. I don't know why it's doing that, but we're going to keep going. The cool thing that happened is that when I pulled up the illustration, we were both like, hey, there's something to this. There's some legs to this. There's a story here. And we knew we wanted to focus on we wanted to combine some genres. Like we wanted to combine adventure and romance, right? We wanted to create that, though in the science fiction element. And when I pulled up, when we were talking about it, I went ahead and I pulled up self-maintenance, and we looked at it. We're like, there's something here. We can make a story around that. And that began the brainstorming process, the further brainstorming process, which led to the creation of 8 stories based off of this one illustration. So this one illustration then led to creation of 8 stories, which then was worked and refined and are now being presented as the main stories, or the stories for the Zero G. So what is the Zero G? The Zero G is a space station garage, so to speak. It's where people take their ships to get worked on. You got a spaceship, need it worked on. She's the astro mechanic that can fix your ship, and her name is Zaria. We gave her the name of Zaria, and Zaria has a past just like everybody else, and it's one that I won't really reveal here. But obviously, you have to like and subscribe the Foresight Media channel, which will be posted up here somewhere. And before I even forget, make sure that you guys do like and subscribe to this channel here, especially if you're new. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, and if you've been here before, please like, and please share these videos, because that's going to help us grow. What we're trying to do is we're trying to grow the community here, and obviously, if you're a fan of me, you'll be a fan of my work. Please go over to the Foresight Media channel and subscribe there and check those videos out, because we got a lot of that's where the content goes that I create on this channel. So back to the Zero G backstory. The story that we wanted to come up with is we wanted to have a heavy romantic element. So we wanted to have this girl in which she's or this young woman, and she's dealing with 2 potential love interests, but they both have a past. Some may be shared with her, some may not. Some may be a little bit more dangerous than the others. some things that there's a lot of that type of drama. Add in the fact that she's a mechanic and an engineer. She's a mechanic and an engineer, and she's facing these very interesting, very tense situations with these ships, because obviously we're in this science fiction realm in which you got quantum cores, and you've got a lot of delicate, intricate circuitry and crash and engineering marvels. So you may be on maybe a ship where the core is about to explode, and you gotta stop that. Or maybe you're on a space station and you have to fix the life support systems, or 5 million people might pass away, and you don't want that to happen. So um, just those interesting types of stories, different adventures, because I know most people are gonna, or I know we're used to the adventure stories in which it's just somebody getting shot at or stuff like that. And I love making those types of adventure stories, but I just wanted to do something a little bit different. And I found with Zero G, I could really tell these different stories, which the antagonist isn't always just a human or a monster. Sometimes it's the day-to-day, the harrowing day-to-day challenges of the things that we build to move us into the next age of technology or advancement, exploration, all of that type of thing. That's dangerous. Some of those things can be dangerous, and the people that do the repair work are people that are extremely brave, and they have to put their life on the line. So with this, with Zero G, she's constantly doing that. She's constantly putting herself in harm's way. Then add on the romantic element. Then add on the fact that the two potential lovers they have a past. They're not the safest people. They may be criminals. One might be a pirate. You never know. So all of these things are coming to fore. So it's a throwback story. It's a throwback to those shows that I used to watch back in the late '70s, early '80s, in which people find themselves in these crazy situations, and they have to deal with a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of relationships impacting some of the decisions and some of the things that they're making. But then we still pull it into this modern 2025 era with some, nice through line storytelling, little mystery, a little angst, a little danger. So it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The series itself is a technical challenge for me, because I have to put out an episode every Monday for the next 8 weeks. We have 8 episodes worked out. There's sometimes I still have to go through, re-edit them, change them up a little bit. So I'm looking forward to you guys seeing the finished final products. First episode 1, is up on Foresight Media channel. Go subscribe to that channel, Foresight Media. Be linked over here somewhere around here. Make sure you're doing that. And if you like the video, like that video, please share it all over the internet. And if you like this video, please share it. Please subscribe if you're new. And but yeah, guys, that's the backstory. This series was inspired by a illustration. And I actually have another series that I'm going to do based off another illustration that I did. Is actually I think that's going to be fun too. So I guess the biggest takeaway here is that not the biggest takeaway I think is that no illustration that you do is a one-off idea. It is the beginning of an idea. So what you want to take from that is that, yeah, you did this illustration. Maybe you did it 5 years ago, right? But now you're looking back at it, and there may be things that you're like, oh, I hate how I drew it, or I hate that. Or you can always redraw it, or you can do things to address some of the things you may not like about that original illustration. But the more fun thing is that sometimes you can look back at something and be like, where can I take this next? And I think that's a lot more fun than people, give that situation credit for. So take the time, look at some of your old illustrations, figure out, hey, maybe I can take this to a different level, and then go from there. That's pretty much it. Next video that I'll talk about is we'll talk about just how you take some of those illustrations to the next level. What is it to look for? How do you create the stories? That type of thing. So this is going to be a continuing series, so to speak. Just some insights that I have and some ideas that I have that I'm going to pass along to you, and hopefully you guys like that. And we're going to talk about writing. We're going to talk about the creation process, creating a workflow. All of those things are going to be a part of the process. So again, like, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. My name's David Gordon, better known as DKG72. I'll holler at y'all on the next video. Peace.